Good morning, everyone. Can you all hear me okay? Yeah, great. Good morning. My name is Maggie Chapman and I am co-convener of the Scottish Greens. It's a great pleasure to welcome you here this morning to our manifesto launch for the general election 2015. What we're going to do this morning is we've got two candidates to speak to you this morning, and my counterpart Patrick Harvie, who we'll run through some of the key ideas through our manifesto and just let them open it up for questions and answers. I'd just like to say, to introduce and set the scene for this manifesto and this campaign of ours. We go into this election off the back of our most successful Green result ever in last year's European elections, where we recorded our highest ever Green vote across Scotland, running on a campaign that was about public services, about justice for immigrants, and about Scotland being a just and welcoming country. And you'll see some of those themes recur in this year's manifesto as well. What we also know is that the landscape of politics in Scotland has changed beyond belief over the last year or so, and we are building on that desire to engage in a different type of politics, that desire to really reconnect with communities and with people in the political process. And those are key elements of our manifesto this morning. Natalie Bennett, south of the border, has been talking about people wanting and actually needing a peaceful revolution. And you will see echoes of that in some of what is said by Patrick and our candidates as well. We have two great candidates who, as well as being active in the Green Party, are well known in their local communities as community activists, who are keen and willing and very able to take that new politics forward through the general election process and into Scotland's future, however that is determined following May. And we are really, I think, quite keen on this idea of that peaceful revolution for a country that puts people before profit and communities before corporations. I'll introduce our candidates before they speak, but before that I'd hand over to Patrick Harvie, our other co-convener. Patrick.
Thanks very much, and like Maggie, can I thank you all for coming and welcome you to the launch of our manifesto. As well as that successful engagement with the electorate in Scotland throughout last year through the European campaign, we've also, of course, come through a referendum, and it's a referendum that was transformational in many ways for the Scottish Green Party. It gave us the ability to engage with the electorate of Scotland on a host of ideas that they perhaps hadn't associated us with in the past. It broadened the way people perceive the Scottish Green Party and the role that we can play in Scottish politics. And it's left us not only with a transformed political landscape in Scotland, but a transformed Scottish Green Party with a breathtaking increase in our membership. Throughout that campaign, we, I think, managed to demonstrate that while you can have a clear view on independence, you can still disagree in a spirit of respect and even friendship, but that you can do that while articulating a radical message about the kind of transformation that our whole politics is also in need of. That's a feeling that I think is resonating not just in Scotland, but throughout the UK and throughout the rest of Europe. We're seeing opportunities open up for radical political change in Europe at the moment. Not only in this country, but others who are hit even harder by the austerity agenda that's being imposed in other countries of Europe, such as Greece. Not only the anger at a broken political system, but actually a determination and a belief is being rekindled that we can do something better. I think the opportunity exists in this election not just to shift power from one political party to another, but to change the way we do politics throughout these islands, to change Scotland's role in the UK, and also in many ways to challenge some of the ways in which we've been assuming our society has to run. So if you are the kind of voter who welcomes the moratorium that we have on fracking in Scotland, but that's not enough for you and you want that turned into a permanent ban. If you welcome the opposition to Trident and see a real opportunity over the coming years to challenge the assumption that the UK has to buy another generation of weapons of mass destruction, but actually that's not enough for you either, and you also want to challenge the military worldview itself and the continued operation of a NATO first-strike nuclear alliance. If you agree that our public services need to be protected, and, for example, the National Health Service kept out of the EU-US trade deal called TTIP, but that's not enough for you and you want to challenge the notion of that trade deal entirely and protect public services, employment protection and a whole host of other things that have been achieved in the European Union. You want to challenge the way in which centre-right economics is locked into EU politics at the moment, and you want to challenge the whole trade deal itself. One question emerges: who are you going to vote for to embody those ideas, to articulate those beliefs and to offer a different alternative? We're really excited that we not only have those ideas in this manifesto that we're launching today, but that we also have that team of activists now around the country in more active and vibrant branches than we've ever had to take that message onto the doorsteps, into communities, and to persuade people that it's time to vote for what you want. And we hope that increasing numbers of them will see the opportunity of voting Green and returning a strong Green result in this year's election. And we'll continue to work constructively over the years to come to repay the faith that our voters have placed in us and that our new members have placed in us in joining the Scottish Green Party and contributing to its vision. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Patrick. I'd now like to hand over to Peter Mccoll, who is our National Target candidate for Edinburgh East. Peter.
Thank you. As Maggie and Patrick have spoken so clearly about, I think we're in a position where there's a great deal of dissatisfaction with the current political settlement. There's a dissatisfaction with three Westminster parties, all of whom appear to agree with each other on the need for more austerity, for more privatisation, and for more centralisation of power. We have a real alternative to that. We have a different platform and we have a different approach to politics. A different approach to politics is articulated through the three strands that you see in our manifesto. The first one being equality, not poverty. For too long, our economic system and our political system has driven poverty and driven people into poverty in order to produce a workforce that has no alternative but to take low-quality, demeaning work. We need to increase the minimum wage to £10 an hour. We need to use that to regenerate our communities. We need to use that to create a new way of working. We need to retain public services in public hands. Patrick's talked about the transatlantic trade deal. We need to end those sorts of treaties. But not only that, we need to end the privatisation of services like the NHS, which has happened under no pressure from trade deals. That's about a political consensus at Westminster that needs to go. When Maggie talks about a peaceful revolution, I think that's what people want to see, an end to unnecessary privatisation of public services. We need to bring the railways back into public hands. We've seen East Coast Rail sold off for ideological reasons. There's no practical reason for East Coast to be in private hands. It was the best railway, while in public hands it was returning a surplus to the public exchequer. And